Captain Jake Morrison walked through the long hallway toward the council meeting room. His boots made soft sounds on the smooth floor. The walls around him were tall and made of blue crystal that glowed with soft light. This was Nexus Prime, the home of the Galactic Council where all the space races came to talk and make deals. Jake had been coming here for 3 years now. 3 long years of sitting in meetings where aliens talked down to humans like they were children. 3 years of watching other races get what they wanted while humans got nothing but empty promises and fake smiles. Today felt different, though. Jake could feel anger building in his chest as he got closer to the meeting room. Ambassador Lisa Chen was already inside, sitting at the human table in the back corner. The humans always got the worst seats, far from the important discussions. The meeting room was huge. It could hold thousands of beings from different worlds. The ceiling was so high that Jake could barely see the top. Floating platforms held the important alien leaders while smaller races like humans sat on the floor level. Jake took his seat next to Lisa. She looked calm, but he could see the tight lines around her eyes. She was angry too, he could tell. Any word on the mining rights vote? Jake asked quietly. Lisa shook her head. The Altarian Consortium filed papers an hour before the deadline. They want the same asteroid belts we found. Jake felt his jaw tighten. Those asteroid belts were full of rare metals that Earth needed badly. Human ships had found them. Human workers had mapped them. Human scientists had spent months studying them. But now the Altarians wanted to take them just by filling out some forms. The meeting started with the usual boring speeches. Counselor Freck from the gas giant worlds talked about trade routes. The insect people from the hive worlds complained about shipping costs. Everyone spoke in the fancy council language that made simple things sound important. Then came the part Jake had been dreading: resource allocation. A tall reptile alien stood up on one of the floating platforms. This was Counselor Thexar from the Zephyrian Empire. His scales were dark green, and his eyes were yellow like a snake. When he smiled, Jake could see rows of sharp teeth. We must now discuss the mining rights requests, Thexar said in his hissing voice. Several species have made claims on the asteroid fields in Sector 7. Jake watched as the images of the asteroid belts appeared on the big screens around the room. Those rocks floating in space looked small and boring, but they contained enough rare metals to power Earth's space program for 50 years. The human delegation submitted their request first, Lisa said, standing up at their small table. Her voice was steady and professional. We have complete survey data and detailed extraction plans. Some of the aliens made clicking sounds with their mouths. Jake had learned this was how they laughed at something they thought was stupid. Thexar looked down at the humans with his cold yellow eyes. Yes, the humans and their little rocks, he said. How amusing. More clicking sounds from the other aliens. Jake felt his face getting hot with anger. Our survey teams worked for 6 months to map those fields, Lisa continued. We followed all council protocols and filed all required documents. Protocols, Thexar repeated, making the word sound dirty. Perhaps the hairless apes should learn proper hygiene before they worry about galactic commerce. The room erupted in loud clicking and hissing sounds. Jake realized the aliens were laughing. They were laughing at humans, at him, at Lisa, at his whole species. Jake started to stand up, but Lisa put her hand on his arm to stop him. She was still calm, but Jake could see her hands shaking just a little. We followed all rules and procedures, Lisa said louder. Our claim is valid under council law. Council law, said another alien from across the room. This one looked like a big blue jellyfish floating in a clear tank. How can species that still fight wars on their home planet understand council law? At least we don't eat our own children when food gets scarce, Jake said, standing up fast. Lisa tried to grab his arm, but he pulled away. The room went quiet. The blue jellyfish alien's tank started bubbling angry colors. Captain Morrison, Lisa whispered. Sit down. No, Jake said louder. I'm tired of this. We've been here 3 years and they treat us like dirt. Every meeting is the same. They make fun of us, they ignore our ideas, and they take what's ours. Thexar leaned forward on his platform. What's yours? You mean those floating rocks? You think finding some metal makes it belong to you? We found it, we mapped it, we filed the right papers at the right time, Jake said. But you're going to give it to the Altarians because they have fancier ships and longer history in the Council. The Altarian Consortium has proven experience in large-scale mining operations. Councillor Vrak wheezed through his breathing. Mask. They have the technology and resources to extract materials efficiently. They have the technology we gave them, Jake shot back. Human engineers designed half their extraction equipment. Human pilots fly their transport ships. Human doctors keep their workers alive in the deep space mines. Humans serve the galaxy well in support roles, Thexer said with his nasty smile. You should be proud of your contribution. Support roles, Jake repeated. The words tasted bitter in his mouth. Is that what we are, support? Lisa stood up beside him. Her calm mask was finally slipping. For 3 years we've shared our technology, our knowledge, our people. We've helped solve problems for every species in this council. And what do we get back? You get the honor of participating in galactic civilization, the jellyfish alien gurgled. Honor, Lisa said. She looked around the room at all the alien faces staring down at them. We get to sit in the corner while you make decisions about our future. We get to watch you take credit for our discoveries and give our resources to your friends. The voting screen lit up around the room. Jake watched as the symbols appeared next to each species' name. Red meant no. Green meant yes. The question was simple. Give mining rights for the asteroid belts to the Altarian Consortium. One by one, the votes came in. Green, green, green. A few reds from the smaller species, but not enough to matter. Final vote, 847 yes, 156 no. The Altarians got the mining rights. Jake felt something break inside his chest. 3 years of trying to prove that humans belonged here. 3 years of swallowing insults and working twice as hard as everyone else. 3 years of hoping that eventually the other species would see humans as equals. All for nothing. Lisa looked at him. Her eyes were bright with unshed tears, but her voice was steady when she spoke. Motion to withdraw all human participation from council affairs, she announced. The room went dead silent. Even the constant humming of the air systems seemed to stop. Councillor Vrak's breathing mask fogged up as he sucked in air too fast. You cannot be serious. The consequences of such action would be severe for your species. Jake smiled for the first time in months. The consequences will be that you'll have to solve your own problems for once. He turned and walked toward the exit. Lisa fell into step beside him. Their footsteps echoed in the huge, quiet room. This is madness, Thexer called after them. You need the council more than we need you. Jake stopped at the doorway and looked back at all those alien faces staring at him. We'll see about that, he said. 3 weeks after the humans left Nexus Prime, Dr. Sam Rodriguez was working in his small lab on Earth. He had spent 5 years helping build the Galactic Council's biggest project, the Quantum Communication Array. This massive system let different worlds talk to each other instantly across the whole galaxy. Sam had designed most of the important parts. The math was so complex that other alien engineers couldn't understand it. They could follow his instructions and replace broken pieces, but they didn't really know how it all worked together. His phone rang while he was eating breakfast. The caller ID showed a number he didn't recognize. Hello? Sam answered. Dr. Rodriguez, this is Engineer Clax from the Communications Center on Nexus Prime. The voice sounded nervous and spoke in broken English. We have serious problem with the array system. Sam put down his coffee cup. I don't work for the council anymore. You'll have to figure it out yourself. Please, Dr. Rodriguez. The whole network is failing. 17 sectors have lost communication. We cannot understand your documentation. My documentation is perfectly clear, Sam said. It's written in standard mathematical notation with detailed explanations. Yes, but the mathematical principles you use, they are human concepts. Our engineers cannot follow the logic patterns, Sam almost smiled. The aliens had always acted like human math and science were primitive. Now they were learning that different species thought about problems in different ways. "I'm sorry, but I can't help you," Sam said and hung up. On the mining world Kepler 442b, Paul Wagner's automated systems were shutting down one by one. Paul had been the chief technician there for 2 years before the humans left the council. He had built machines that could dig metals out of the ground faster and safer than any other technology in the galaxy. The Centaurian overseers who ran the mining operation watched their production numbers drop every day. The machines still worked, but they were getting slower and making more mistakes. Supervisor Senksal called an emergency meeting with his engineering team. "The extraction rate has dropped by 40%, he said, his 4 arms waving in agitation. "The human machines are malfunctioning." "They are not malfunctioning," said Engineer Pollitt. "I have studied the systems. They are designed to learn and improve their performance over time, but they learn using human optimization protocols." "Explain," Senksal demanded. "The machines watch how humans work and copy their methods. They adapt to human decision-making patterns. Without humans to observe, they are becoming confused and inefficient." Senksal's eye stalks drooped. "Can we reprogram them?" "The programming is too complex. It would take years to understand how the human designed the learning algorithms." But the real crisis was happening in the outer spiral, where the insectoid hive confederation was attacking council worlds. The hive had been growing stronger for months, but the council had always been able to stop them. General Kate Sullivan had been the council's top military advisor. She understood how to fight the hive better than anyone. The insect aliens were smart and dangerous, but they thought in predictable patterns. Kate had developed strategies that used the hive's own behavior against them. Commander Ryan Hayes had been her second in command. Together they had won every battle against the hive for the past 2 years. Now they were both gone. Admiral Vexar of the Council Defense Force was in his command center watching the latest battle reports. 3 Council fleets had attacked a hive stronghold in the Tau Ceti system. All 3 fleets had been destroyed. "How is this possible?" Vexar asked his staff. "We have superior ships and weapons." "The hive is using new tactics," reported Captain Zillick. "They are coordinating their attacks in ways we have never seen before." "What do our strategic computers recommend?" "The computers suggest a direct assault with overwhelming force." Vexar's scales changed color with worry. "That is the same strategy that failed in the last 3 battles." The truth was that the Council's strategic computers were programmed with battle plans developed by human military minds. Without humans to create new strategies, the computers just repeated old ones that the hive had learned to defeat. In the IAT Council chambers on Nexus Prime, Prime Counselor Zephael was meeting with the Emergency Committee. The blue crystal walls that usually glowed with peaceful light now pulsed red with alarm signals. "Status report," Zephael ordered. Counselor Vrak wheezed through his breathing apparatus. "The communication array is down in 31 sectors. Mining production has dropped by 60% on 12 worlds, and the hive has captured 4 more star systems. What about the technical problems? Can our engineers fix them? The human systems are too complex. We need the humans to return and repair what they built." Counselor Thexar shifted uncomfortably on his platform. Everyone was looking at him. His insults to the humans had started this whole crisis. "Send a diplomatic mission to Earth," Zephael ordered. "Offer them better terms to return." "What kind of terms?" asked the jellyfish alien in his tank. "Whatever they want. We cannot function without them." The Altarian diplomatic ship reached Earth's solar system 5 days later. Captain Morak expected to be welcomed to Earth like any other diplomatic mission. Instead, his ship was stopped at the edge of the asteroid belt by human patrol ships. "This is Captain Bill Hayes of the Earth Defense Force," came the message over the radio. "State your business in this system." "We are an official diplomatic mission from the Galactic Council," Morak replied. "We request permission to land on Earth. For negotiations, permission denied. Please proceed to the message buoy for further instructions." Morak was confused. A message buoy was what you used to leave messages for ships in space. It was not how you conducted diplomacy with an important species. The buoy contained a simple, holographic recording of Ambassador Lisa Chen. She looked calm and professional, but her words were final. The United Earth government thanks the Galactic Council for their years of cooperation. We are now pursuing independent development and exploration. Please do not contact us unless you have something of mutual benefit to offer. We are not interested in returning to our previous arrangement. Captain Morak tried to send messages to Earth asking for a real meeting. The humans sent back the same recording every time. On Nexus Prime, the crisis was getting worse every day. The quantum communication array failed completely, cutting off hundreds of worlds from instant communication. Trade routes that had been optimized by human logistics experts collapsed, causing food shortages on 17 major worlds. The war with the Hive Confederation was going terribly. Without human strategic advice, the Council forces lost battle after battle. The Hive was now threatening the Council's core worlds, including Nexus Prime itself. Even worse, 3 smaller species decided to follow the human example. The Canine Federation, the Ursine Republic, and the Feline Collective all announced they were leaving the Council. We have observed how the Council treats species who contribute more than they receive, announced Ambassador Woofall of the Canine Federation. We prefer to seek our fortunes independently. In just 3 weeks, the galaxy had changed completely. The Galactic Council that had ruled space for almost 1,000 years was falling apart. Ships couldn't talk to each other across long distances. Mining operations were failing. Military forces were losing battles they should have won easily, and, somewhere in a small solar system on the edge of civilized space, the humans were building new ships and exploring new worlds, completely ignoring the chaos they had left behind. The mighty Galactic Council was learning a hard lesson. Sometimes, the people you think you don't need are the ones you can't live without. 6 months had passed since the humans walked out of the Galactic Council. Counselor Thexar stood in his private quarters on Nexus Prime, looking out at the emergency repair ships working on the communication towers. His scales had lost their bright green color and now looked dull and gray. The stress of the past months had aged him badly. His door chimed and his assistant entered. "Sir, the Council has made its decision. You will lead the diplomatic mission to Earth." Thexar closed, his yellow eyes. This was his punishment for starting the crisis with his insults to the humans. Now he had to go beg them to come back. "When do we leave?" he asked. "In 2 hours. The ship is already prepared." The journey to Earth took 5 days. Thexar traveled with a small team of diplomats from different species. Everyone was nervous. No one knew what the humans would demand, or if they would even agree to talk. The Zephyrian ship dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the solar system. Immediately, human patrol ships surrounded them. These weren't the small, defense ships from before. These were new warships that looked bigger and more dangerous than anything the humans had built while they were in the Council. "This is Admiral Chris Parker of the Earth Defense Force," came the message. "State your business." Thexar recognized the name. Parker had been a junior officer when the humans were still in the Council. Now he seemed to be in charge of all Earth's military forces. "This is Counselor Thexar of the Galactic Council. We request permission to meet with Earth's leaders to discuss important matters." There was a long pause. Then Parker's voice came back, colder than before. "Follow the escort ships to Luna Station. Do not deviate from the planned route. Any attempt to approach Earth directly will be considered an hostile act." Luna Station was a new space station built in orbit around Earth's moon. It was huge, much bigger than anything the humans had built before. Thexar could see construction ships adding new sections even as they approached. The docking bay was filled with human ships of designs he had never seen. Some looked like cargo vessels, but others were clearly warships with weapon systems that seemed very advanced. Admiral Parker met them at the airlock. He was a tall man with gray hair and cold blue eyes. He wore a dark blue uniform with more decorations than Thexar remembered human officers having. "Counselor Thexar," Parker said with a slight nod. "I remember you." "Admiral Parker, you have been promoted since we last met." "Many things have changed," Parker replied. "Follow me." The meeting room was simple but elegant. Large windows showed the view of Earth hanging in space below them. The planet looked peaceful and beautiful, but Thexar could see the orbital defense, platforms and weapon satellites that now surrounded it. Parker sat across from the alien delegation. He didn't offer them any refreshments or make small talk. His manner was strictly business. "You wanted to meet," Parker said. "Talk." Thexer's throat felt dry. He had practiced this speech many times, but now the words seemed hard to find. "The Galactic Council would like to discuss the possibility of humanity returning to Council membership," he began. "Under what terms?" Parker asked immediately. "We are prepared to offer significant improvements to your previous status. Better quarters on Nexus Prime, more representation in committees, preferential consideration for resource allocation requests." Parker's expression didn't change. "Not interested." "Perhaps we have not explained the benefits clearly," said Councillor Vrak through his breathing mask. "Council membership provides access to galactic trade networks, shared technology databases, and mutual defense agreements." "We're doing fine without them," Parker replied. "Our trade is expanding rapidly with independent worlds. Our technology development has accelerated since we stopped sharing everything with the Council, and our defense seems adequate." The jellyfish, alien in his tank, bubbled nervously. "Surely you cannot be serious about permanent isolation. Humanity needs the galaxy." Parker smiled for the first time, but it wasn't a friendly smile. "Do we? Let me show you something." He activated a holographic display that showed star maps of the local galactic region. Red dots marked human colonies and trading posts. There were dozens of them, spread across systems the Council had never bothered to explore. "In 6 months, we've established 43 new colonies and trading stations. We've made contact with 16 independent species who were never Council members. Our industrial output has increased by 300%. Thexer stared at the display. The humans had been busy while the galaxy was falling apart, but the Council offers stability and established relationships. Vrak wheezed. "Your stability is built on our work," Parker said. "Your established relationships depend on our technology and expertise. What exactly are you offering us that we can't get for ourselves?" The room was quiet for a long moment. Finally, Thexer spoke. "The galaxy needs you. The communication array is completely down. Mining operations are failing across 12 sectors. The Hive Confederation has captured 6 star systems and is threatening the core worlds." "I'm aware of the Council's problems," Parker said. "We monitor galactic communications." "Then you know we need your help," Thexer said. "Yes, you do," Parker agreed. "The question is, what are you willing to offer for it?" Another alien diplomat, a bird-like creature from the Avian Republic, leaned forward. "What do you want?" Parker looked around the table at all the alien faces. These were the same species that had laughed at humans just 6 months ago. Now they were begging for help. "Equal voting rights in the Council, not junior member status," Parker began. "Formal recognition of all human territorial claims, including the asteroid belts you gave to the Altarians. Full access to all Council databases and technology archives that were previously restricted." The aliens looked uncomfortable, but Parker wasn't finished. "Complete restructuring of the Council's military command with human officers in all senior strategic positions. Formal apology from the Council for past treatment of humanity. And compensation for the resources and opportunities we lost during our years of second-class membership." "These demands are excessive," Vrak protested. "These aren't demands," Parker corrected. "These are the minimum conditions for our return. You have 1 week to decide." "1 week?" Thexer's voice cracked. "The Council needs time to debate such major changes." "1 week?" Parker repeated firmly. "After that, we proceed with our own expansion plans. We've already been contacted by several species who want to join our new alliance instead of the Council." "What alliance?" the bird alien asked nervously. Parker smiled again. "The Free Worlds Coalition. Independent species who prefer cooperation to domination. We already have 12 members and more joining every day." The alien diplomats looked at each other with growing panic. The humans weren't just leaving the Council. They were building a rival organization that could eventually replace it. "You cannot be serious about this," Thexar said desperately. "The Council has maintained galactic peace for almost 1,000 years. The Council maintained galactic control for almost 1,000 years," Parker corrected. Peace is what you have when people choose to work together as equals, not when the strong force the weak to obey. Parker stood up, indicating the meeting was over. You have 6 days and 18 hours to give us your answer, he said. Don't waste them. As the alien delegation was escorted back to their ship, Thexar realized that everything had changed. The humans weren't the desperate junior species begging to return to the Council. The Council was the desperate organization begging the humans to save them. The galaxy had turned upside down, and it was all his fault. 1 year later, Admiral Chris Parker walked through the corridors of the rebuilt Council chambers on Nexus Prime. The hallways looked different now. Where once there had been a strict order that put humans at the bottom, now species mingled as equals. Human officers walked alongside alien diplomats discussing trade deals and defense strategies. Parker wore his new uniform, dark blue with gold trim that marked him as Supreme Commander of Council Defense Forces. It was a position that had never existed before, created specifically because the Council had learned they couldn't fight wars without human leadership. He entered the main Council chamber and took his seat at the primary strategic table. The room had been redesigned too. Instead of the old system where important species sat on high platforms while others sat below, now everyone sat at the same level around circular tables. Ambassador Lisa Chen was already there, reviewing papers for the day's session. She had been elected as Director of Internal Affairs, another new position designed to prevent the kind of dismissive treatment that had caused the crisis. Her job was to make sure all species were treated fairly. Morning. Briefing? Parker asked as he sat down. The Altarian Consortium formally returned the mining rights to the asteroid belts, Lisa reported. They also sent a personal apology letter from their CEO. Parker nodded. The Altarians had been among the first to realize which way the wind was blowing. When the humans returned to the Council with their new terms, the Altarians had quickly given back everything they had taken. What about the Hive situation? Complete success. Your new battle strategies pushed them back to their original territory. They've requested a peace treaty. Parker allowed himself a small smile. The insectoid Hive Confederation had seemed unstoppable when they were fighting traditional Council tactics. But human military thinking was different. Where aliens saw overwhelming force as the answer to every problem, humans understood psychology, misdirection, and using an enemy's strengths against them. The Hive had been defeated not by bigger weapons, but by smarter strategies. Captain Jake Morrison entered the chamber, wearing the uniform of Director of Human Colonial Affairs. He had been promoted from his old position and now oversaw all human expansion and settlement projects. Jake? Parker nodded. How are the new colonies? Expanding faster than we expected, Jake replied, taking his seat. The Free Worlds Coalition has grown to 28 member species. We're establishing joint colonies in 6 new systems this year. The Free Worlds Coalition had been Parker's masterstroke. While negotiating to return to the Council, he had simultaneously built an alternative organization based on equality and mutual benefit. Now the coalition worked alongside the Council, and many species held membership in both groups. Lieutenant Colonel Beth Turner approached with the daily reports. She had been promoted to Parker's Chief of Staff and handled much of the day-to-day coordination between human and alien forces. Sir, the morning communications report, she said, handing him a datapad. Parker scanned the numbers. Communication array efficiency up to 112% of original capacity. Dr. Rodriguez's new design improvements, Beth explained. He rebuilt the system with modular components that other species can understand and maintain, Sam. Rodriguez had returned to work on the Council's technology projects, but with a very different arrangement than before. Now he was Chief Technology Officer with full authority over all major systems. More importantly, he insisted that all his designs be built so that non-human engineers could understand and repair them. Any word from the mining operations? Jake asked. Production is up 200% across all Council worlds, Beth reported. Paul Wagner's new automated systems are being installed on 15 more planets this month. Paul had also returned, but as director of industrial operations. His new mining robots were designed to work with any species, not just humans. But the underlying technology and design principles were still human innovations. The chamber began, filling up as representatives from various species took their seats. Parker noticed how different the atmosphere was now. Instead of the tense competitive mood of the old council, there was a sense of cooperation and shared purpose. Councillor Thexar entered and nodded respectfully to Parker. The Zephyrian looked healthier now, his scales bright green again. The stress of the crisis had nearly broken him, but he had learned from his mistakes. Admiral Parker, Thexar said formally, I have the final report on the reparations payments. Already? Parker asked, surprised. The council voted to accelerate the compensation schedule. All species agreed that humanity should be repaid as quickly as possible for the resources and opportunities lost during the years of unequal treatment. Parker accepted the data pad. The numbers were substantial, but more important than the money was what it represented. The galaxy had formally acknowledged that humans had been treated unfairly and were making concrete efforts to fix it. Prime Councillor Zephyel called the session to order. The first item was a proposal from the Canine Federation to establish new trade routes through human space. The Free Worlds Coalition has offered to provide security for convoys traveling through the Outer Rim, announced Ambassador Wufall. Human patrol ships have proven very effective at deterring piracy. The proposal passed unanimously. Even species that had once dismissed human capabilities now actively sought human partnership and protection. The second item was more significant. 3 more species had applied to join both the Council and the Free Worlds Coalition simultaneously. The Crystalline Collective, the Plasma Beings, and the Energy Wraiths have all submitted formal applications, Zephyel announced. They specifically request human oversight of their integration process. Lisa Chen stood to address the chamber. Humanity accepts the responsibility of helping these species integrate into galactic civilization. We will ensure they receive fair treatment and equal opportunities from the beginning. There was a murmur of approval around the chamber. The other species had learned that humans were not only effective at solving problems, but also fair in dealing with newcomers. As the session continued, Parker reflected on how much had changed. A year ago, humans had been treated like children who were lucky to be included in adult conversations. Now they were the adults everyone came to when they needed real solutions. The communication systems worked better than ever. Mining operations were more efficient and safer. Military strategies were more sophisticated and effective. Trade flowed more freely between worlds. New species were welcomed and integrated smoothly. Most importantly, the galaxy had learned that cooperation worked better than domination. After the session ended, Parker stood by the great windows overlooking the Nexus Prime spaceport. Ships from dozens of species came and went, but now human vessels moved among them as equals and leaders. Jake joined him at the window. Remember when we walked out of here? I remember thinking we might never come back, Parker replied. Are you glad we did? Parker considered the question. The galaxy was a better place now. Humans had their respect and their rightful place, but more than that, the entire system of galactic civilization had improved. Yes, he said finally, but only because we came back on our own terms. Through the window they could see a new ship landing. It carried the colors of another species wanting to join the growing alliance of free worlds. The galaxy was changing, becoming more fair and more just. Sometimes the best way to fix a broken system was to walk away from it and show everyone what they were missing. Humans had done exactly that, and now the whole galaxy was better for it. The lesson was simple but powerful. Respect is earned, not given. And once you earn it, you never have to beg for it again.